So what can we take away from these preseason games? Well, we can find highlights and get fucking jacked up. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for some preseason highlights. And always remember, does any of this matter?
Good question.
I think there's some things you're going to see in these highlights that you're going to say, yeah, this matters. Ladies and gentlemen, the number 1 overall pick out of USC might be a guy. Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, Chicago Bears taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Look at Caleb escape the pot. Get, drop, bit in a bucket. What a dog. We were wondering, will Caleb Williams be able to do the Caleb shit in the NFL? Well, what's the Caleb shit? That is the Caleb shit. It is the most ridiculous, athletic, freak show stuff that you could possibly pull off. We're going to run for a quarter mile, and then what? Hey, laser. Ooh. Is he in bounds? No. You got 2 end lines, though, you know, and they were talking about the seams because of some soccer game that was taking place. So obviously, Rome maybe needs to learn which one's in, which one's out, pile on, especially as we're improvising on the play.
Chicago also forgot to paint inside the lines, too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things there that Rome, you could see how his mind per riff could potentially be off a little bit. But what we know is this Caleb Williams is a spectacle.
Yeah.
Everything he does is worthy of watching because any play could become a home run play. Here he fake sets up like he's going to throw again so he can get his offensive line in better position, literally baits the entire defense and goes in. You know why? Because Caleb's been doing this in high school. He did it at Oklahoma. He did it at USC. And now seemingly he's just going to be able to do it in the NFL. Congrats to Chicago. Got a defense.
Yep. Look out.
They got weapons. They got special teams. They got a really cool-looking head coach with that new haircut.
Yep.
They got a young general manager who's not scared, Ryan Poles. They're about to have a new stadium. Where? Where are they going to park? Where's that going to take place?
No idea.
They have no clue.
Won't be able to.
That potentially is old problems of the Chicago Bears peeking their head into new Chicago Bears. But if I'm a Chicago Bears fan, from what I've seen, I should be incredibly excited. We'll be able to beat anybody. But Caleb is going to have some situations that are going to pop up during the regular season from all that shit that it's going to go the other way. And we got to remember that the promise is still there. Why? Because we've seen it in preseason. Let's head to Hammer, Dahn, Tone Diggs, Tone. Listen, whenever we're talking about these rookie quarterbacks, I knew you did some research. We were talking earlier, Caleb Williams, what?
Holy hell.
Did you see? Might be.
Are you kidding me?
I was gonna say, that was going to be my last question to Coach Bill Belichick, but we came up to a hard out on the hour, and he was talking about salary cap gymnastics and roster management, like giving a PhD basically on how they were able to sustain for 20 years while in a salary cap with everybody else playing by the same rules. I was going to end that thing with showing these highlights and just talking about greatest player of all time, greatest player of all time, just to see his reaction, because that would be something that, you know. Oh my God. Because he said 3 times at 3 different answers. Once again, it is preseason. We can't really, there's no defense. We'll see how this entire thing goes. And we referenced earlier the Detroit Lions when they went 0-16. They were 4-0 in preseason. And then we've talked about teams that have gone on to win the Super Bowl that were 0-4 in the preseason. Just last year, Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers were unstoppable in the preseason. And then literally the only thing that was stopping was you watching their offense when they were on the field during the regular season, because it was horrendous and it was very boring to watch. Rookie quarterbacks have a chance to have some success, though. And we're seeing some glimpses. Tone, you did some research, I do believe, on these rookie quarterbacks?
Yeah, looks can be very deceiving in the preseason, Pat. Like you said, Kenny Pickett last year was the greatest quarterback of all time, and now he's potentially the 3rd stringer for the Philadelphia Eagles. And now Caleb could be an outlier, okay, in this situation, like Big Ben was, who came in and went 15-0, I believe, his rookie season. And, you know, C.J. Stroud last year. But like Caleb, Big Ben came into a great situation with a good defense and a veteran offense and things like that. But 57 rookies have started at least 7 games in year 1 in the last 20 seasons. They have won 41% of those games straight up. In the last 10 years, they have won 36% of the games in year 1 as a rookie. And they are currently on a 2-18 run in their last 20 games on games that have go week 1 to 3. So those first 3 weeks of the year, the rookies are not on a great run. So while we are seeing them perform lovely in the preseason, it normally doesn't start great, and you shouldn't expect them to win more than half of their games.
Oh, jeez.
Just
I see Caleb do a little whoop-de-woo into a droop-de-doo into the
Yeah.
He could be the outlier because he's going to a better obviously Drake and Daniels and Bo, they're going to teams that aren't supposed to be good. So I don't know if we should. Maybe let's just not build them up too high, and then they don't play great, and then we're staying here in week 7. Well, these guys suck.
Hey, maybe that's what Atlanta's doing with Penix. That's why they didn't have him play in the second preseason game.
Yeah.
What?
What are the Falcons confused? Okay, they draft the guy at 8.
They've seen enough.
Could work.
You're sure they've seen enough? They've seen 8 passes from the guy in one preseason game. That was enough, or whatever.
He's gonna be a starter.
Someone I can't remember who tweeted it, but I thought the same thing this weekend. Is Kirk Cousins not playing week 1? Are we worried? Like, is that a reason? Was that why?
Dude,
He's been fully cleared.
I will say
I
this.
know.
I will say this. Atlanta Falcons, it could all work out.
Yeah, it could.
We have no idea. It could all work out. A lot of head scratchers, though.
Mm-hmm.
Not seeing Penix in the second week. Yeah, we're holding him out. We've seen enough. Fascinating. Because if this goes how it's supposed to go, to your point about Kirk, $180 million, he's a starter. Penix is there to learn, to develop, then be starter. So wouldn't you want to see him in preseason games?
Yes.
So that he can get some live action, boss, that isn't, Washington, then they say no. None of it makes sense. Anyways, so Tone, you're saying these rookies probably not going to be good. 2-18 first 3 weeks of the season over the last how many years?
So that's on that's last 21 games. So I'm not sure over how many years that is. But over the last 10 years, 36% win percentage.
All right. Thank you. We'll move on from the doom and gloom from what we're seeing on these preseason games because this rookie class is being heralded as potentially the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
How did you view preseason and how do you view it now?
I think you look at the preseason, and to me, I looked at segments of it. When our starters were in there, how efficiently were we in terms of what we were able to do collectively? But I used it as an opportunity to develop young players. I get concerned about the concept of going 18-2. You say, well, the fans don't like the preseason games. Well, it's not about what pleasing the fans. Get other people. Lower the prices. It's about developing players. These are players you're going to ask to play at some point week 7, week 10, maybe even week 12, and the only past experience they're going to have playing will be in the preseason. So I want to see these guys who are in practice, what they're like when the bullets are flying, what they're like in game-like situations, who can I count on, where do I have real depth and where do I really have minimal depth? Because the only way I can really assess them so many times is in the game. You see great practice players, but you really see how they really play in course of a real live game. So to take that away to help stop developing players is a concern of mine.
Joint practices are seemingly going to be the replacement for it. Do you, kind of, What do you thought?
Nah, joint practice is what? We have 7-on-7, we have blitz drill, we have 1 minute. Again, these are all situational things that you do practice, and it's great to have more people. You're going against another group. But live situational football, where you have officials backing you up 10 yards, you have the change of possession that takes place, somebody else goes down. These are the things that you have to deal with in a regular season. Who can I count on? So I need to have these guys in live situations, knowing exactly what they're able to do, and I want to see how they respond in the game. Not how I find out how we respond in week 4 or 5 when now I have no other choice. And this guy really played, one series in the preseason?
Yeah, I think an earthquake has hit a couple times in Indianapolis, down in Charlotte as well. Not in Ohio, happy you're saying. Yeah, and we don't know if it's an actual earthquake or if it's just the electricity of Coach Bill Cowher. Your screen is bouncing whenever you're going, and it is. I love it. I started bouncing with you, just team aspect. AJ left you hanging there, thinking, it's kind of that's AJ football. You know what I mean?
Figure it out later.